speak, he invited me to his show. He said, look, you sound quite flamboyant and it's an interesting topic. Would you come to my show? I came to his show, and after that, he asked me, well, what can we do about it? I said, we can file a lawsuit. And you will have standing. We have another serious problem. Citizens of this country are being cut off decision-making process illegally. We have Ninth Amendment. And according to Ninth Amendment, the powers that are not expressly given to the federal government and not given to the states should go to we, the people of the United States of America. And what has been happening is that time and again, when citizens come to court and they bring issues, they're told, you have no standing. Why? Well, what the judiciary is saying, you need to show that you have a very special injury, that you really were somehow injured, that it's not an injury that is common to everybody. But then we have a question. What if it's something like illegitimate president and commander-in-chief? It is common to everybody. So what does it mean? That nobody can bring this question to courts and get a resolution? That's how ridiculous the judiciary has become. It's absolutely unbelievable what we are seeing in courts today. Well, complaining doesn't help unless we have millions of people protesting. So I decided to go around this and find plaintiffs with standing. And my first case was Keyes et al. V. Bowen on behalf of Alan Keyes, who was a presidential candidate from American Independent Party. He's an ambassador. His vice presidential candidate on the ballot in California was Violet Drake, and Markham Robinson was an elector, one of the electors, and that's how it started. The problem with that case was that Violet Drake and Markham Robinson recommended one more attorney, Gary Cribb, and that's what the problem started, because I could see he was dragging his feet. When we were supposed to be in court, he turned around and left the state. He went to Hawaii for 12 days. He showed up only one day before the Electoral College meeting and rescheduled the case for March, at which time it was dismissed by the judge as being moot as to the Secretary of State. So that was a problem. And when I saw it, I decided I need to bring other cases. I can't rely just on this one. And I brought a second case, and I was able to present it actually to the Supreme Court of California and later on Supreme Court of the United States before the Electoral College meeting. And that was Lightfoot et al. V. Bowen. On behalf of Gail Lightfoot, she was a vice presidential candidate on the ballot in California. There were several electors and voters with her. It was a group of 7 plaintiffs against Secretary of State Deborah Bowen. And but the first case, Keyes v. Bowen, I argued and I recommended to this co-counsel Gary Cribb that we should move faster. He didn't want to. So the second case, I jumped 2 levels. Instead of filing in Superior Court of California, I jumped 2 levels, Appellate Court and Supreme Court of California. I went for emergency stay in the Supreme Court of California, and from there I went to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts, read the case, and he decided that it is valuable enough to present it for conference of all 9 justices. And it was scheduled to be in conference on January the 23rd. Something unbelievable happened. On January the 21st, right after inauguration, the case disappeared from the docket of the Supreme Court of the United States. Disappeared. And on that day, I had to go to Texas, where I was helping a citizen who brought similar case, pro se, jury Brockhausen. People started calling me. I could see, it was scary what was going on. My case, somebody raised my case from the docket of the Supreme Court of the United States. At the same time, there was an article in Wikipedia about me and my cases. Somebody erased that article. Moreover, any information about me with the attorney's bar disappeared. It's like I didn't exist anymore. And I was saying, well, the only thing is left is them to make me disappear physically, and that's it. Luckily, there were concerned citizens like you who started bombarding Supreme Court with phone calls and faxes and demanding to re-enter this case on the docket. On January the 22nd, close to the end of the day, 5 o'clock in the evening, I got a phone call from Danny Bickle. He is a clerk responsible for stays, and he said that he asked me to contact my supporters so they will stop calling and faxing the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court cannot work. They are overflown with phone calls and faxes from my supporters, and he said, we are re-entering the case on the docket. And by the way, he lied. He said, oh, it never disappeared. I said, no, it disappeared. It was there on the 20th, and then it wasn't there on 21st. How can you tell me this didn't disappear? Oh, it was a common glitch. I said, no, that was not a common glitch because other cases were still there. Cases that were already closed from years ago, they were still there. And case that's supposed to be heard on the 23rd suddenly disappears. It was unbelievable what's been going on in the Supreme Court of the United States. And by the way, I have submitted dossiers to the Department of Justice, to Chief Justice John Roberts, to FBI, demanding investigation. So far, I got no answers. I did get a phone call from one of the officials with the Department of Justice saying that my dossiers were forwarded to the criminal division of the Department of Justice, but that was in March, and I haven't heard from them since. Well, the case was re-entered on the docket, but then next morning, the justices supposedly discussed the case in conference, all 9 of them, I don't know if they even read it, and decided that it will not go further for oral argument. And I didn't know why. And luckily, March the 9th, one of the justices, Antonin Scalia, was supposed to be in California at a book signing ceremony. He was selling his books. So I worked, and as Gar has mentioned, I do have 2 degrees. I'm both Doctor of Jurisprudence and Doctor of Dental Surgery. And actually, I am doing those cases pro bono. I do get donations, but bottom line, my dental office is subsidizing this litigation. So I worked the full day, was on my feet, and then I figured I'm going to go to this book signing and this lecture, which was in Los Angeles. It was like an hour and a half drive. Got there, and I stood on my feet probably another hour and a half until the lecture was over. I ran to the microphone. I was the first one there. I asked Justice Scalia if they would hear this question in the Supreme Court.